Hey guys, this is Rob John Webb here for Waxadisc, and this is my little series that I'm doing as to why you don't release your music and the fear of stopping to release music and things that you do to procrastinate and other excuses and reasons as to why you don't want to release your music. These videos are generally used to help you get over those fears and try to, get more productive and be more confident in releasing your music. So today's short episode is about the reasons why you don't want to release your music is because you are a perfectionist. Now, all of us suffer from, trying to be a perfectionist at some point in our lives, particularly with music and particularly with the way it's scrutinized these days. So, but if you listen to some of the greatest recordings of all time, right, particularly in electronic music, you will find that there are so many little flawed little imperfections in there and tiny errors. So many of the early Detroit records and the classic house records from mid-80s up until, the late 80s are absolutely, really horrendously badly produced. And that's part of their charm. But at the same time, it didn't stop them from releasing these records. They made these records on makeshift studios. They just got together bits of equipment from secondhand stores and borrowed it off people. And, they did what they had to do to get their music out. If you listen to Rhythm is Rhythm, Strings of Life, it was recorded onto a cassette, and that was apparently the final master of the track. If you listen to it in detail, it's hissy, it's raw, it's out of sync in places, it's really all over the shop sometimes. But that is what makes it its charm. Another one is Sterling Void, It's Alright, that came out in '87. Dreadful production, really rough. The beats sound like they're recorded in a bathroom, but it is absolute classic, and it's a beautiful record. We've come a long way since then. Obviously, these were the early days of house, but, they were still finding their feet in those days, in music production, I guess. But, 30 odd years on, if you listen to them records, the amount of unprocessed sounds in there are quite really prominent, and you can hear that in the mix. So the point I'm trying to make is, as long as you've got a good balanced mix in your tracks, and you set it at -6 dB to get it for a master, get it put through a mastering. Do an online mastering service like Cloud Bounce or Landor or something like that. Just get your track as best as you can, and then just put it through a mastering thing and just see what it sounds like when it comes back. A good master is never going to fix a bad mix. Everybody knows that. That's a given. But when we spend too much time trying to be a perfectionist and trying to get the hi-hat to sound just right and trying to get this kick drum to sound like that and this bass ain't quite right, as long as it's clear enough and you've panned things a few, left and right, and you've got it sounding good, and you can try it in a mono mix, you try it in a stereo mix, whatever, just experiment with it, but don't spend forever trying to get the perfect snare, because it's just going to stop you from releasing stuff. Get it out, get your stuff set at as best mix as you can, and just put it out there and just get it mastered, and so that will give it some enhancement. And you'll probably feel a lot more confident once you've done that, because then it will give you the desire to go and make another track, rather than sitting on one track and making 6 or 7 versions of that track. Just do the very best you can with it and just get it out and just be productive. Just put it out, put it out. Or if you can afford it, pay an online mix engineer to do it for you. Send him the stems, let them deal with it, But obviously the majority of us want to do it ourselves, and that's the beauty of music production these days. We can do everything ourselves. We don't necessarily need a mix engineer. You can learn. There's countless videos online. But as I say, stop trying to be a perfectionist and trying to get that bass line to sound perfect, because it's never going to be perfect. Sometimes the imperfections are what make it perfect. So don't be a perfectionist. Get your music out. Hit the like and subscribe if you haven't already. And thank you very much for watching. Goodbye.